All right, 3, 2, 1, boom. Let's sync the audios. Get this thing rolling. Actually, I need to put the phone back in the pocket, so that way I don't lose that. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the saga of Meathead trying to figure out why his audio is always so piss poor. So right now we are actually just recording through my Lexan, and hopefully it doesn't just eliminate all of the dead spots in the audio or anything like where I'm not talking. Hopefully that is not the case, but yeah, we're just trying to figure out why last few videos that or the last video actually was recorded and then I was gonna upload and edit and all that. I go to edit it and just horrible wind noise, like just constantly, like it was I couldn't even watch it to edit it, so hopefully we don't have that problem anymore, but we'll see. He thinks that this might be the way to do it from now on, and I'm hoping that the audio, at least for me talking, is nice and crystal clear, and then the GoPro is unconnected to any sort of microphone or anything, so it at least is going to get audio from the bike and stuff. Ooh, we do not need heated grips right now. Very, very windy today. Oh my god. And look at the storms to the south and east. It did say that there's a chance of storms today, but I think we have avoided it for the most part. But we'll see, I guess. It looks pretty clear to the west, and that's where storms usually come from, but also feels like that stuff is moving northward. So I'd probably best just be getting home. Oh yeah. Get out of this traffic. My god. Anyways, how's it going, everybody? We're back at it, making some moto vlogs, hopefully, and I actually have audio to use. So, on to what I'm talking about in this video. I want to chat about the wonderful world of the communities that we end up being a part of. Now, I used to think, honestly, that the motorcycling community is pretty good for the most part. Sometimes we all have to admit that the motorcycling community can be kind of toxic, right? And honestly, what's surprising to me more than anything with the motorcycle community is just how divided we can be, but then as soon as somebody else like says something about the community, how it just immediately will flip 180 and we're all against this one person. So like the motorcycle community specifically, like it's always cruiser versus Harley, or your Harleys and cruisers versus the sport bike guys and all that. Always like, well, you couldn't afford this motorcycle, you couldn't afford a real motorcycle, a real man's bike. And then there's guys on sport bikes that are like, dude, we got sport bikes that are just as expensive as yours, and at least ours can have double-digit, triple-digit horsepower, whereas yours just are like all noise, no go, you know, like those kind of retorts back and forth all the time. But the thing that the community that I've found to be like way worse is for toxicity, man, is the parenting community. Oh my god. So as some of you know, or most of you might know if you follow me on Instagram and stuff, my wife and I welcomed twins into this world, right? A boy and a girl. They are now a little over 4 months old at this point. And man alive, when you start like getting content on social media for parents, you know, they're oriented towards parents, it is such a crapshoot as far as like, am I actually going to get genuine content with advice that might help me or is entertaining or anything? Or am I just going to get the, like, well, the comments especially, I should say, are always super biased one way or the other, like, or a lot of different ways. You have so many people that, like, as soon as you're dealing with a kid that's, crying a lot, it's, oh, it's got to be the vaccines. You got your kid jabbed. It's cause those heavy metals and stuff are causing them pain and discomfort. You did this, or it'll be, well, it's because you're formula feeding and not breastfeeding. Breast is the best and all that. And it's always a competition of like, well, you're doing this wrong, I'm doing this right. And I thought that the motorcycle community was bad at times. Like, my God. The parenting community and like the culture around parenting and all that, some people really do dedicate like a lot of their spare time to telling people how they're doing parenting wrong, and it shows. That is a police officer up here. We are not going to get stopped today. At least that's the goal. Let's not get stopped today. I hope we are recording audio. I don't hear any feedback from my Lexan, so I'm kind of worried now. But anyway, yeah, I just like ever since I've become a dad, and like you get so much negativity. Like, it's moms bashing dads, dads bashing moms. It's breastfeeding versus formula feeding. Sleep training versus not sleep training. Let them cry it out. Don't, you gotta pick up your kid. Like, it's, oh my God. Like, we can all agree, anybody that's had kids or is going to have kids, I will just forewarn you saying that you are not doing anything wrong. If you are trying something and it doesn't work, you're learning your kid, and your kid is kind of learning you in the process, right? Like, you're gonna make mistakes, but the only mistakes you truly make are the ones that you don't learn from. So when you hear somebody telling you or see somebody telling you that like you're doing this wrong because of X reason, even though you might have already tried that thing, it's just a very toxic community overall. And there's very little exposure that I've gotten with the parenting side of like TikTok and Instagram and all that I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually genuinely helpful. I actually feel like I learned something important here. No, most of the time I just feel like, wow, you're bashing so-and-so parent because of X reason. Let's see if this okay, that's an interesting STI. So he's got one. I never heard of a triple tip exhaust. 2 on one side, 1 on the other. That's interesting. Either that or he lost the tips for the other side. God, this bike handles so good. I love it. It's just so nice and snappy with the throttle. You don't even have to be in the right gear at the right time, really. It's literally just roll on the throttle and you got power. At least for like right now, I'm in 5th versus 6th. Woo, that was a big whip on in there. Also, I love that quick shifter. But yeah. Anyways, the parenting community. I've already probably beaten that horse to death. It's just, it is something else. Like the level of like, we are all in this sucky thing together. Why don't we all just get along? Like, we're all still like learning things. Every kid is different, right? Like, people can see the difference between their first kid and their second kid. Their first kid was an absolute terror. Like, they were unable to sleep. They were up every 2 hours in the night up until they were about 2 years old, and then the second kid will be just an angel, or vice versa, or they're both terrible and like at sleeping, or they're both angels. It's like kids are so, like babies and toddlers are just so in between. Like they're so wishy-washy. They're 0 to 100. There's no like blueprint to parenting. And like when you just see people that think that they have the answer, like I have the golden ratio, I have the booklet, I was given this, why weren't you given this? You know, that sort of mentality of like, I know best, why don't you do what I do? And it's like, I've tried it doesn't work. It didn't work for me. It doesn't work right now. It may work later. We might find out that it does work later, but right now it doesn't. Like it's so much so standoffish when somebody sees you doing something that is not how they did it. It's immediately like, you are doing this wrong. What is wrong with you? Like you feel like they are like waiting for you to like make a move, and they're right behind you, and they're gonna go and whop you on the back of the head. Like, no, don't do that. And it's just that's why I really like don't post stuff about my kids or like the struggles that we've had. My wife and I have had our fair share of struggles. Like we've had the pregnancy and the birth and the recovery, and the now infants have been relatively mundane, I would say, compared to some people's experience with twins. So I'm not going to say that we have it the absolute worst, because guarantee you there's people that have had it better and people that have had it way worse than us. So I'm not going to like say that one way or the other we know what's going on, because we really don't. My wife and I know enough to get us by, and that's about it, you know. And we're still learning things about them, and still learning their cues, and their cues have changed since they were newborns and stuff like that. So like, I don't feel like posting that kind of content on the internet, because like I don't need advice from anybody. The people that I need advice from are realistically my partner, my wife, and maybe my parents, maybe her parents, like, or similar parents around us. But like, unless they've dealt with the exact same thing, I don't like, and that's the majority of people around here that we know have all had single kids. So like the advice that you might have might work for one, but might not work for the other kid. So it's like, I don't know. It's so much so like I don't like that like content anymore. Like I thought it was going to be helpful for a while when I first started getting parenting TikToks and parenting reels and stuff on Instagram. But man, it is such a toxic environment. And like I said, more so than the motorcycle, the biker community, because like, despite us all having our like issues with each bike that we have, and like motorcycle or Harleys versus everybody else, or sport bikes versus everybody else, like in the end, the commonality is we all got an ease in the breeze. And a lot of times you can fall back on that if you're like, okay, we're in a bit of a spit, there's a little bit of disagreement here. I'm just gonna call it quits. I don't really want this to occupy more of my time, so I'm just gonna say, you know what? Peace out, keep your knees in the breeze. It's time to shut up, and everybody kind of goes about their day, and they're like, whatever, I was right, you were wrong, you know. Him and Ha, get over it. But there's no like, with the parenting community, from what I've seen, there's no let bygones be bygones and just move on with your life. It is like, no, I'm not done until you admit that I was right, you know, sort of thing. And that's just something that like I don't understand. But anyways, guys, I figured I'd talk to you about that topic. because it's just been fresh on my mind because I've been getting more of it recently because I'm now an adult. And it's like, if you think the motorcycle community is insufferable and can be such a cringy and toxic environment, look no further than parents telling you that you're doing your parenting wrong, because it is something else. But anyways, guys, as I get pelted by the crosswind, I will see you in another video. I hope to do some more content with the KTM, and I hope I'm over this microphone issue or the audio issue, but we shall see. Peace out, keep the shiny side up. I'll see you in the next one.